You ready?
Ready.
Can't eat too many M&Ms on the air.
Eating Christmas M&Ms.
You can hear us crunching.
It is what it is.
We always need a snack while we podcast.
Yeah, I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can hear me crunching munching.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Does it sound like it's good?
They are good.
Taste it. If I eat any more, I'll just suckle on them. I won't.
Oh, okay. Good. You won't. I get it. Just suck them until they're gone. Okay.
So.
Hi.
Hi.
We have a good one today. Oh, I'm Christina.
You are?
Yeah.
I'm Jackie. And we are
your neighbor's hood.
Your neighbor's hood.
I keep forgetting that we still have to introduce ourselves because we get new listeners, which I love.
Yes, thank you. If this is your first time listening, welcome.
Yeah, welcome to your neighbor's hood.
Yeah, where we have uncomfortable culture conversations specifically about race, which you heard in the intro.
Yes, you did.
Shout out to my little girl.
We should remind people or tell them if you're new that is Zahara.
Yeah, that's my little citizen.
She made a cameo.
Yeah, she's a voiceover actress.
Yes,
now.
she is officially. I'm sure she loved it.
Mm-hmm.
She's a whole lot of person.
She's a whole lot of person. She's a rock star, artist, author. She's all kinds of things, but we're always glad to have people who support us be a part of what we do.
Yeah, so speaking of that, we had someone write into us.
Yes, this is exciting.
Yeah.
Can I tell you like I'm doing a happy dance?
Yeah.
Oh, I can tell you.
Oh, yeah. YouTubers can see us.
Yes. I love that people engage with us.
Yes, we always love it. We love it. We love comments and feedback. And so we encourage you guys to message us. You can go to yourneighborshood@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Or you can send us Facebook messages.
DM us on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Tweet at us.
Yep.
Say, how about this?
Yep. We love ideas.
Mm-hmm. But it's exciting to know that people think enough of us to bring us into their neighborhood.
Which
so
we
when
love.
they comment and things like that, it's like you're bringing us into your mind, into your.
Because we can't cover all the race and culture things. So
yeah, and you never know what you write may become a podcast.
That's true.
Like today.
Like today's.
So we had a listen. Yeah, we had a listener email in. Go ahead.
Okay, so I find it interesting that comment sections will always invariably turn into racism if you go deep enough. I was on a sneakerhead website talking about a new release pair of Nike Air Jordans, and the commentary turned into a conversation about how white people have no culture and black people have no economic value, or how black people are just inherently violent. So I made a comment in this section saying there are white history shoes and there is white culture, and why don't people buy them? But whenever somebody else's culture gets celebrated, white people have a problem and fight against other cultures being celebrated. They want their culture to be out front and center. So I thought it was very interesting to find that this diverse group of hobbyists, they turned it into race and racism in the comment section. I think anonymity is the culprit. Thoughts. That's really good. So the first thought I had is that we all understand the comment section, and how it can be. Oh my god! I mean, it can turn very quickly. The second thought I had is like, how does shoes turn into a race conversation? I thought that is so interesting because, like you pointed out, like what I was thinking is shoes should be a fun hobby that brings all of us together. I don't know.
If you love shoes.
If you love shoes.
Yeah, it should be. But so the backstory to that is in looking and asking is that it seems they were referencing the Black History Month releases.
For Nike, right? I didn't know that they did that.
They do that every February. There's a set of Nikes that come out that are in the red, black, and green, like the flag.
Mm-hmm. Oh, explain what that is.
So there is a African American flag. It consists of the red, the black, and the green stripe. The red is for the blood that was shed by all the slaves that came over. The black is for the rich hair, or it's for the loyalty and love that we show, how we're connected to the other. And the green is for the motherland. It's for Africa.
Cool.
And
I actually didn't know that, so thank you for explaining.
No worries. That's what I'm here for. You're a resident.
You're a resident black resident.
I don't know it all, but I do know what I know. And the flag came about because there was a song back in the 20s that said, everybody got a flag except for a Negro. And I know some of you guys do your Black History's coming up, Marcus Garvey, and there was a group that came up with this push of making a flag for the Negro. So Nike takes those colors from that flag that was made by some black folks back in the early 1900s, and they make a shoe out of it.
That's cool.
And it's like, it's a thing. It's
no
the Black
idea.
History Month shoes. And what this person was referencing was that shoe release. And that sucks.
Yeah. And so white people turned it into, like, why can't we have a White History Month?
Why can't, and that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And so it went into,
How white people have no culture. We've talked about
yeah,
that
so it
before.
was like, so the argument then, because someone comes in and says, why do we got a white history
Right.
shoe? Then it becomes, well, white people ain't got no culture. They stole all the culture. And then it's like, well, black people ain't shit. You guys don't even know how to take care
And so
of
it
yourselves.
erupts into this entire argument.
Race wars.
Race wars over a shoe.
The comment section, though, is a breeding ground. I'm sure you've dealt with it before.
Oh, everyone
Of, like,
has. You have to. I would think.
yeah, being on a site and
Right.
then,
And this person too, we should preface, never like usually comments, right?
oh yeah, that was, yeah. So when we reached out, it was like,
Yeah.
thank you for this. And,
Yeah.
and it was the mention of, hey, I never really comment.
But it was an important.
But this was like important, and it's like that happens. I know that you guys, I felt it sometimes, like where it's like, oh, I gotta say something, but I don't want to add fuel to the fire.
Right.
And so I find myself trying
Yeah,
to be
same.
so meticulous with my words.
Me too. And you also just don't want to, like, if someone else is saying it, you don't want to repeat. You want to add value.
Yep.
I never jump in and say things. I really don't, unless I feel it's a very egregious. And in this place, I could see why the person wanted to jump in, because it's like, this is a hobby. How could this be? And what's interesting about these comments also is that it was on both sides. You know what I mean? So people were saying white people had no culture, then black people are inherently violent. So you had people on both sides of the aisle.
Shooting darts
At
Pew,
each
pew,
other.
pew, pew, pew.
So what do you think the impact of that is? Because that's my question, on people or the commenters.
I think, in even listening to what this person wrote, and then my own feelings, is it just makes me feel like, racism is everywhere.
Yeah.
It just reminds me that it will
embedded.
show its ugly head on anything. I mean, if it'll happen in schools, it'll happen on beauty website. It happens everywhere. It just shows up like, hey, I just want you to know I'm still here. You thought you were having a good time? Well, hey, I'm still alive and well.
Right.
It'll find
I thought you were
ways.
safe in the shoe section.
Yes. Look at Mrs. Shoes.
Right.
You are not safe here. I am here.
Right.
I am everywhere. And it just reminds you that, there will always be, if you're working in this industry, there'll always be work.
Yeah, I know.
There
There are
are work.
anti-racist work
Yeah, but it's morphing. So now it's like, now the access to people's inner thoughts is very
Right.
different. Because the last comment said, what did he say? Race had turned into racist comment section, and I think anonymity is the culprit.
Yeah,
it's
I
people
agree.
being able to be unfiltered with that keyboard courage.
Right, and you would never, in polite society for the most part, no one is going to say those things to a black person. You know what I mean? I mean, hopefully not, but I think because the internet gives us the safety and the comfort from our homes, you're most likely not going to have to interact with the people that you comment on a website.
True. And then, too, I'm just like, we cannot forget that when we put stuff out on the internet, that shit ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah.
It is not going nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, it is here. It is not.
Yeah. And I think for me, it shows who you really are too.
Oh, yeah,
It
yeah.
shows your character. You know what I mean? Because when no one else is watching, for the most part, who are you? And when you're at home, you're your truest self.
Yep.
So if you're saying those things online, then obviously you truly believe that.
Then you
and then
believe
feel
that.
the need to say it.
Yep. Out loud.
Yeah. And it makes me wonder why, the intent behind it as well. Like, why do people feel the need to do that?
Can I hypothesize?
Yeah, of course.
Is that I think sometimes on the white side it is, or the European American side it is, I want to say this out loud to I need a person of color to hear this.
Right.
And then on the black side, it's like, I got to get these jokes off. Like, let me tell you about yourself. And it's also with a sense of almost like, I'm going to put these jokes in, and I'm going to give you facts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, each side wants to be heard.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Most humans want to be heard.
Yeah, and black folks want to correct white folks. White folks want to correct black folks.
That's such a good point. And that's where you get the fights.
Yeah. It's like,
I don't even know, and I would say, I don't know that there's any fix for it. I think it's just going to keep happening. I think and sometimes it's important to not read the comments. You know what I mean? Like, it's healthy to not read them.
What are you talking about? On certain stories and things like that, I stay away.
You always can control yourself, and you can't control some of the comments that people make. But at the same time, like this reader or this listener told us, is like sometimes it's also appropriate to speak up when it's something really bad. You know what I mean? So it's like always walking that fine line. Yeah, of when do you say something?
When do you speak up? When do you shut up?
Yeah, and I'm glad this listener did and said something and then told us about it.
Yeah. Have you ever had an instance where?
Yeah, recently I engaged. There's another anti-racist activist that I follow. Her name's Rachel Cargill, and she had done a post. I don't even remember the type of post or what it was, but underneath, I was reading the comments, and there was a young lady. She was 17 years old, and said, "Hey, you know, I have friends of color. I'm not really sure how to talk about race with my friends, okay?" And she's like, because normally I try to bring up the conversation. They're not ready to have it, or they don't want to. And she's like, how do I move forward? Like, what do I do? And she's white. And so most of the comments back to her were, don't bring up the conversation with your friends. It's emotional labor for Black people to talk about race. You need to do your reading. You need to do your homework. And now, preface it to say, I've seen that answer to everything. Anytime a white person asks a person of color a question, that's what we get told is to read. Which there's some valid to that. Like I'm not dismissing that, but why I commented back and said, you know, well, actually, I have a Black friend where we do this work. I do this for a living, and we have these conversations, and she encourages me to ask questions. You know, and people said back to me, that's a very interesting situation, which is true. I acknowledge that I have a privilege to have you as a Black friend, but I was just trying to say that I can't speak for the Black community, but I would think that there's diversity in the Black community, and not all Black people would say, don't ask me questions. Yeah. And then the other point that I have is that she is young, she's trying, and I don't think it's healthy to tell a 17-year-old to not engage in conversations. And not have conversations about race, because here's my other frustration is that so we're told to not say we don't see color, right? Okay, we get why that's wrong. We've covered that.
Yep.
But then we're trying to bring up race conversations with people of color, and we're getting told that it's emotional labor. What do you think about that? I mean, there's my frustration.
Yeah.
I feel that girl's frustration.
Yeah. So let me ask you, what about that prompted you to say, like, because I think we all have our breaking points when we're reading other people's ish.
Great
like,
point.
what was your breaking point? What about that said, like,
she was 17. That's what it is. Because I've seen many older women or women my age comment, and you know what? I get it. I get telling us white people to read books, and also Rachel, to preface this, has a ton of great resources, like a ton. So there will be, and I will acknowledge this, will be white women who do ask very ignorant questions, say very ignorant things, and haven't done the work, right? Okay. My breaking point was that she's 17, and she is coming into this at a young age, which is great. I didn't as a white person. I've said this. So what I see her as just trying, and I felt like she was attacked and she didn't say anything ignorant. She really didn't. She was just saying, I'm trying to talk about race with my friends and hear their experience, and I don't know how. And if she can't ask that of someone who does this work, where does she go?
Where does she go? Yeah. And I'm listening to that, and I'm like, okay, processing. A huge thing that we as elder millennials and elder adults have to realize is that our youth are using the comment section for very real validation, for very real. Yes.
Good point.
So it's like, it is when the comment section becomes a breeding ground for tearing stuff up, tearing people up, then that is what we're saying is acceptable in society, because for them, we've not had an instance where we had that much access to information and then it became a part of society. I read the newspaper sometimes, and then that shaped some of the things. I watched the news in the morning, And that shaped a lot of what I am. But they have unfettered access to many different people's thoughts. And so listening to what you say in that what happened to that 17-year-old in that comment section, first she acknowledged, I am a child.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, like, I'm here, I am 17, I'm trying to figure this out with my friends.
Right.
Right. And I think we do a disservice if we don't use the social learning opportunity if we, not just black and white, whatever, people in general don't look at the comment section as a social learning ground.
Yeah.
And going tit for tat, because what I will say is I found in some comment sections where I've learned some stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, oh,
absolutely.
you didn't know that.
Absolutely.
I didn't, you know what I mean? That
Right.
we can have
Right.
healthy conversation.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. And sorry, I got very excited.
No, but you're
it
right.
makes me angry because it's like, this girl is hearing from someone that she views as a leader, and
She
Rachel
follows,
is.
yeah.
Absolutely. But what Rachel's followers and everyone is telling her that the only way to engage with Black culture is to not talk about it,
Yeah.
to do your reading, to become educated. One, that's not representative of all Black people. Am I correct? I can't say that as a Black person or a white person.
No, you can say that as white.
That's been my experience.
The stuff that you read from Black folks. Have you met Black people that co-sign with all the stuff that you read?
No.
Because I think even you and I have had conversations where you're like, when we first started, and it was like you were following these people, not this person in particular, but there were different people that you were following. I'm like, no, thank you. I'm not like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had to sit back and be like, even though I respect that person of color's position and because I don't know what things have happened in their life to cause that anger, but I'm not on board with them, nor do I want their toxic sort of stuff, because to me, some of it is toxic,
Sure.
right? Some of it is not healthy, even for me as a Black person.
Right. And that's kind of what I was going through too, is like part of it's like how much of this is helpful, especially to this girl. There was too many people commenting back to her, telling her that she was ignorant, that she needed to read, that she shouldn't. And I'm like, the girl's just asking a question.
So reframe. In reframing and just looking at how that could have become a teachable moment, instead of that, say, you know what, I suggest you read this.
Yeah.
You know what, I suggest you take a look at this. Or here's something, not go do, you know what I mean? Like, it is one thing to have somebody come at you and you just be like, look, you are ignorant and you're coming from a place of ignorance. I don't have time for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not
And there
about
are
it.
comments like that.
Absolutely.
This was not.
So it's one of those things where I feel like the mature folks in the conversation could have said, you know, I never had the opportunity, but if I did and I was your age looking at this, I would take a look at this book, or I would take a look at this. Yeah,
some did.
So that's, I mean,
and that's a healthy response. What wasn't healthy to me was the people telling her to not engage with people
don't
of color.
engage with.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
don't ask them questions about race. Does that make sense?
So I disagree with that.
Yeah.
just I disagree because I don't trust.
They were just saying that the answer is to read.
Nah,
You know
because
what I
here's
mean?
the thing is that how much stuff have I read and then tried to process it by myself and made my own sense of it, and it was just totally off base. Do you know what I mean?
What a great
like,
point.
I've done that with homework, with video, you know,
Isn't that
going to
what
college.
learning is?
Yes, and so part of that is getting in that classroom and then processing it with the teacher who is therefore the expert.
What would you say to people that say that that's emotional labor for people?
I would respect that person's feelings about what it does to them.
Right.
Because who am I to say that it's not labor to them?
Of course, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I commented back and said, yes, it is emotional labor.
Yeah.
And if a person of color tells you that, just respect it.
Yeah.
But what we do and what I've done is when I think something's particularly exhausting or I have a question that might be ignorant, I will say this might be emotionally laborious. If you want to tell me to Google it, no problem. You know what I mean? And then you have not that you need my permission for a way out of the conversation, but it makes it less awkward and it makes it not as ignorant for me, because it's like I'm trying to learn. But if you want to give me a resource and say go read this, and then I say, you know what, thank you, and then it's done. But that continues the conversation. I don't think it's healthy to just say read a book.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think that's great, but I just don't. My fear is that for this girl, I don't want her to think her experience to be but like to be shaped and think like, okay, she can't talk to Black people or she shouldn't because it's wrong.
I think you wildin'. If you say don't talk to Black people, like,
or about race, they're not saying don't talk to them. But
I'm
like,
saying about if you're saying, listen, this is, again, it is my opinion, and my opinion is like trash. You can take it on as treasure or you can throw it away. I do not think it's healthy to have the conversation in silos.
Right.
I do not think it's healthy.
Podcasts.
Yeah, but I also don't think it's healthy to have the conversation for the sake of just getting shit off your chest.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't,
That's a great
I don't,
point. And I think I know that's a point that the activists make, because there are women, white women, that absolutely come into those spaces to center whiteness. They do. To be antagonistic.
Yeah.
And I'm not just devaluing that. Again, the bottom line for me is that's why I jumped in, because this girl clearly was 17 and was just trying to learn.
Yeah.
And so I think that the response that she got was not healthy. Now, the response that they gave to some women is absolutely important or valid. Like, some women, white women, need to be told, read a book. To me, I think the girl could read a book and read the resources, but then also follow up with conversation.
So I'm not here to, I would never use the comment section to validate somebody's fragility. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Great. That is a great way to put that.
Right, just not
And I'm not asking for that either. I don't think this girl had white fragility. This is not an example of that to me.
But we have to, and we have to be mindful of that on a platform like you're on Instagram for that.
Yeah.
On a platform like Instagram, that platform gives life, comes alive in the comment section.
Right.
So you put this picture out there, you put this thing out there, and then it gets a life through the comment section.
Right.
And so if you're a young person, an elder person on social media, and you're using these platforms, is like, your comments are what actually give the platform its life, and you're speaking truth to your life through those comments, whatever that looks like.
Right. And they're powerful.
Yeah,
That's the thing. I think, the takeaway too is, like, you can't underestimate how powerful your comments can be. So even if they're mean, or you don't think that they are, or you don't take it serious, they're powerful, and they're impacting someone on the other side of the screen.
Yeah, so you think we should censor, like, how much censorship do you think should happen in the comment section?
Not much. I'm actually more of the journalist in that sense of, like...
Yeah. Let people be who they are.
Exactly, and you said that before. Wouldn't you rather know something?
Hey, look, tell me you're racist.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Again, it causes harm, but should you shut down all comments because they make ignorant, racist comments? I don't know. It depends, and it also depends on the platform, and it depends on who's running it.
Yeah.
I mean, some of it can be straight hate speech.
I would say that during the campaign, I would read when they put out something, when the new local paper here would put out articles about the candidates sometimes, or things that were going on with the school board and stuff. There's one person who I went down a rabbit hole and tracked them back, because you can see where someone has commented specifically.
Yeah.
And every single place that he commented on articles across the years, it was something that brought the race piece in there in a negative light. And so being mindful, to me, it made me be more mindful of the fact that there are those people out there that are just looking for
it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm agreeing with that. Absolutely. And unfortunately, especially when it comes to race, there are white people that are just being trashed. You know what I mean? And
there are humans that are just being trashed.
Yeah, exactly. And they're trying to instigate, quote unquote, race wars. I think, it's interesting. This is where it's taken a different form in 2019.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's taken these things have always been there, unfortunately. They're just showing up now in the comment section, because that's who we are.
It's another place. It's
that's
another
what I'm
picket
trying to
line.
say. Exactly.
It's another picket line. Yeah.
And so it's like, I guess my big question is, like, what do you do with all of that?
Yeah, what do you do? What do you do when you are faced with a comment section and it's like, my blood is boiling. I'm about to light this up.
Right. I think it really depends, because here's the thing. If you clearly, this person was telling us, like, going back to the first comment, we all thought that shoes should be like a very neutral topic. It should be something that was safe and fun for everyone. So, obviously it's going to be everywhere. So what I'm saying is you could be exhausted. So, like, if you're constantly seeing this stuff, so I have to say it, like, there is a point to where you just shouldn't engage in the comments, right? But if you do so feel the need to comment, I think I walk through a couple questions. One is, am I saying something that no one else has said, right? Because there's a lot of people who just repeat the same messages. And then two, So am I saying something that hasn't been said? Two, am I adding value?
Right.
Am I arguing for the sake of arguing? You
Yep.
know what I mean? Like, am I just egging this on? In my opinion, I was not egging anything on. The other question I ask is like, well, I just said it, but I was adding a point that I thought that no one else had brought up.
Right.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
And so I ask myself those questions before I comment.
Yeah.
And if they don't hit those three things, then I say, is this needed?
Yeah.
And then I don't comment.
It reminds me of what you were saying, reminds me of this process. It used to be this commercial on TV with these kids that was talking about, it's crazy. We had commercials about racism. Do you know that?
No, I didn't.
I'm thinking about it. It was like, first off, the one was like, my friends are friends and we don't care about color. A new generation, love one another. And then it talked about when you're faced with racism, right? It said, stop, look, and listen. Think about what's going on. Count to 10, walk away, release the peace, and be strong. And like, that's what I feel like you gotta be. Yeah, it was on TV.
Oh,
I don't know who it was that did it, but
that's awesome.
It reminds me, like you saying, walking yourself a process. If you're in the comment section and you find yourself going down a rabbit hole, a racist rabbit hole, stop, look to make sure, stop before you comment. Look to see if a point you can add value.
Right.
Stop, look, and then, I don't know, listen to your gut, I guess.
Yeah.
And then
I do that.
Walk away.
Do that. I absolutely do.
And be strong.
Is this important to comment? Does this help? And I think it does. I mean, it was interesting. People commented back to me and they said, well, you have a very interesting situation. And I always like it when people use interesting because it's like, what are you really thinking? Like, do you think that's great? Do you? Anyway.
You can't take away the fact that you can't be like, no, you don't.
Right.
You don't talk to your black friend about this stuff.
Right.
Yes, I do.
Exactly. And that's what we were talking about this before the show, but I was like, I almost tagged you in it so you
should
validate me. Not validate me, but well,
call him for backup in the comment section. Tag all your friends so they can.
Yeah, but I was thinking that. I was I didn't want to be like the delusional white girl who was like, I promise I have a black friend that talks to me about race.
Oh, you saying you got black friends now?
I do got black friends. And I was like, no, wait a minute. She will talk to me about race, and she agrees with me. Yeah. Luckily, no one challenged me and wasn't like.
I mean, I don't think that was real. I mean, I think
that would have been. I think that would have been a little far.
Yeah, and then two, I think if you're someone if you are choosing to get into this work too, you have to be mindful of your influence, right? And so who are these people that, even if you're not in this work, I think on your Facebook, if you're still on Facebook, and on your Instagram and on your Twitter, what kinds of people are responding to what you're putting out there,
right?
And is that indicative of the kinds of things that you want in the world? Because at some point, which I think this activist does at points, you as the person putting the object or the thing out there have to kind of moderate.
Yeah, right.
You have to moderate because
and that's a great question. You. Like, then when does it become the responsibility of the person putting the work out there?
Yeah. To
moderate the comments or to comment back. I don't know. But then at the same time, that would be exhausting because she gets 3,000 comments.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, it's absolutely impossible for her. She couldn't.
Concur.
Yeah.
But, again, to those who much is given, much is expected.
Yeah.
And if you're building a community, I feel like part of that is knowing what your community looks like. And that ultimately becomes your page, your site becomes your neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And so I don't believe in over policing a neighborhood, but I do believe that you have to be checks and balances.
Sure.
And you see people put the things out there. They're like, okay, this is for this, and this. This is the community that we believe in. If you don't have nothing, I say no. Whatever it is.
Yeah, she sets norms, which is good.
Exactly.
For the space.
And so just be mindful that sometimes when I go and I see things like this on particular people's pages, or not just like what you're saying, but I do have people that I've had on Facebook or something that their comments are consistent with the type of company that they keep on their page. You know what I mean? With the type of things that they want in the air. And it is a matter of negotiating and navigating whether or not that is worth my energy.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I should add that to my checklist. Like, is this even worth my energy?
Is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it going to turn into this back and forth and then have a cutoff point?
Yeah, I can't handle that.
Because we go back and forth, back and
then
forth.
it can cause you anxiety and anger that's just not needed because people aren't always going to agree with you.
No, they're not, and we don't have I don't have the expectation that people should always agree with.
No,
me.
100%. We both say that. We both say you don't have to agree with us all the time.
Yeah, I'm going to just put it out there. I like conflict.
Intelligent, not just for the sake of it.
Right. I love what conflict can breed. Beautiful things. When you put people in a space and there is a disagreement and we can respectfully disagree, but see things, see something from someone else's point of view, or we can see a way to do things differently, but still go out and do the work.
Yeah, and so that's a great point.
That.
That's what happened in this comment section. No one said anything inappropriate to me. No one even said anything inappropriate to this girl. I don't think no one was mean. No one was abusive. It was just, I was offering what I thought a very valid point. That's it, for other people to think about. So I will preface it to say that it was a healthy dialogue to me. Someone said something, and then people said it back. It wasn't nothing. But so don't engage. If people are just being straight mean or racist or abusive, it's like those people, to me, are not worth engaging.
Yeah. And unfortunately for the person that wrote in, you were looking for some beautiful things and you found some ugly things. But that doesn't mean I don't think you lose your hobby for the sake of for someone else's gratitude, because when it's all said and done, it's virtual.
That's true.
And you get to go back and live the life that you want to live.
That's true. You can turn it off. That would be, I think we're at the end of this one. What do you think? Because that would be my so what, now what is like, well, so what, like the comment section, we know it gets real and can get ugly when it comes to race.
Yeah.
But now what is kind of going back to what I said. Well, first of all, walking yourself through the process. Like, why am I commenting? Why do I need to comment? Am I adding value? Is it worth it? And then if it's not, just walk away. Because sometimes that's better.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to be social justice warriors on every comment, because you're not going to get every racist. You're not going to, you know what I mean? I mean, you just can't. So.
Yeah. And it'd just be, I don't have anything to add to that.
Yeah.
I think that's...
Got the same so what, now what?
Same stuff.
Same
stuff, different seat.
Right, right.
Yeah. So.
That was a fun one. Thank you for letting me share my comment.
Yeah.
We were both on the same wavelength. It's funny. We both said, "Oh, we got comments," and we're like, "Let's do a whole comment episode."
Yeah. So as you navigate your virtual reality,
yes. Leave us comments though.
True that.
I mean, I guess if they're
true that.
We don't want them, but
hey, I would say the good. I love to hear all kinds of perspective. I think there's growth in all things.
Yeah.
In all things, like we get to choose no one can control how we feel and how we respond to things. So if you feel like there's something you want to say, but you don't know how we'll respond, that's okay. We get to, you have the right to put it out there, and then we have the right to choose how we respond to it.
I like that.
That's across the board. Can't control that, but I don't think there's growth in not choosing to, if it's not being harmful, if you've done your process and not putting it out there.
Yeah.
So
hit us up, comment on our stuff, and DM us.
Yes. And like us, subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Rate
Patreon. We're still always loving our listeners that want to be a part of our...
That's right. Neighborhood.
Yeah. In the neighborhood with you.
I like that. Is that a new song?
I just made that up just right now.
Be our new theme song.
In the neighborhood with you.
Good.
We need to record that. We gotta go. We gotta record that.
I like that. That was good. That was good. All right, so that's all I have. So stay open, stay curious,
and make it a great day.